This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1218. We've done 1,218 of these, people. It's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And it's just us. The guys are busy today, so there you go. We've got to get the whole crew, the big mega crew, all together for like a Christmas episode in the next couple weeks or something.
Yeah, a big old-fashioned, variety show.
The internet thinks that you and Marty are feuding because we're keeping you apart, so you need to set those rumors to rest.
It could be further than the truth. I'm a man without feuds, for one, and the last human I would have any possible reason to have any sort of feud with would be Marty, one of the coolest, nicest humans I know.
You know what's crazy about Marty is this week you heard about the CEO of United Health getting murdered in cold blood.
Yeah.
Marty's dad is his lawyer.
Oh, wow.
Or advisor or something. Like he works with the guy. Yeah.
Man, what a tragic, terrible situation.
So he was telling us about it, and I was like, what? How is that not national news? And I go over to drudgereport.com, and it was the entire front page.
Very
I was
much
like,
national news.
oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway. As well.
It is a awful, very scary situation.
Well, I'm sorry to intro the show that way. We have a great show, very festive show. Bob Goff is our guest. I mean, the living and breathing Santa Claus is joining us today. And I say that with all love and respect. I love Bob. Mm-hmm. When I describe Bob in real life to people who don't know him, I'm like, literally, it's if Santa Claus and Jesus somehow morphed into one person. That's Bob Goff.
It's pretty high praise.
And
a little blasphemous.
Very nice, very jolly.
He has personally changed my life several times. He has been there for me, and he's my hero. So, glad he's coming.
Actually, though, I would say, I was going to go on theological things, because if you're combining Jesus with anyone, you're taking, that's not an improvement.
Bob's not Jesus. So, like, if Jesus had to step down a notch.
But with the flaws of Santa. Okay, I think I understand.
the heart and generosity and laughter and life-givingness of a Santa with that's where I'm going to stop. I'm not going to get into the attributes of Jesus.
Let's stop ourselves before we
love Bob Goff is all we're saying. He's coming up. Also, at the end of the show, we have a game called Christmas Quandaries. We are going to settle once and for all a bunch of holiday scenarios and determine whether it's acceptable or not. These are real life scenarios. Christmas Quandaries. It's coming up. Don't miss it. It's funny you mentioned Christmas Quandaries, because we're in Christmas party season, and you are. Some of us don't leave our house. You are.
I had a Christmas party this week.
I've already
the two of you are. Some of us don't leave our house. All right.
Well, I have one this evening, the evening we're recording, and then I have a couple more on the docket in recent weeks. And I recently purchased a suit because I was invited to a black tie wedding, and I didn't own a proper suit. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. It's a black tie wedding, so I want to show respect to the lovely couple who I'm friends with. And so now I'm just looking for excuses to wear the suit, because I don't work in a suit type of industry, right? And so there's very few opportunities. But I just went. You're wearing a beanie
and have a skateboard on the wall right behind you. So yeah,
that's true. There's few opportunities these days. Like even like funerals these days. I don't even know a full suit. I think the tie. Unless you're like.
I didn't wear a suit to my grandmother's funeral a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I feel like even funerals. I
didn't wear a suit either.
Have or the female equivalent of formality. I feel like has there's just fewer places. I feel like it's court. You don't
have to wear a suit to court. You could just wear it.
Sorry, the fact that was the first example you gave was you guys know when you go to court and you got to wear a tuxedo.
I'm just saying. I feel like it depends on why you're in court, and I feel like if depending on if it's I don't know, if you're facing serious charges, in my mind, someone dressed in a suit is probably guilty, but I look at them and say, well, they probably have the means to get out of this, so we should probably just move this thing along.
What if it's a white-collar crime like money laundering? You don't want to be rocking the suit. You want to go in like when Heathcliff Huxtable on the Cosby Show, who was a well-to-do doctor who was married to a lawyer, wanted to buy a new station wagon. He dressed down. So they didn't think he had all the money to pay top price, you know.
But that's different. This is in a court of law. I'm not saying you have to wear Armani, but I think it's show. Anyway, it's like court and weddings. But I'm like, dude, I got suit. I'm wearing it to every Christmas party. I'm just rocking the same suit to every Christmas party because I bought it, and I have I don't have any court appearances on the schedule right now. And I've got a little pushback because some people are saying, no, it's not that kind of formal gig. And there's, you know, they get some festive sweaters in the mix. And where do you guys stand on Christmas party apparel? Because I feel like, when else are we dressing up these days? Like, society's just gotten much more casual. Don't you think you just go
I don't think
all
it's
out
a
on
Christmas.
these?
I don't think it's Christmas party. I think Christmas party is making Christmas cookies and you're wearing the sweaters and it's more festive friends and family vibe.
Making cookies.
New Year's Eve. Decorating cookies, sorry. New Year's Eve is when you rock the suit. That's when you go. That's champagne. That's, you know, that's formal. I think you need to chill on the suit for the Christmas.
I'm wearing it. It's already decided.
See, I think
for New Year's.
It just depends on what the vibe of the Christmas party is. Because, like I said, I went to a Christmas party earlier this week, but it was very chill. We decorated Christmas cookies. It was like
at a
ugly
restaurant.
Christmas. It was like ugly Christmas sweater stuff. But if you're doing like the office, like the classy Christmas party, then wear the suit.
Yeah, I mean, when we would do the relevant Christmas parties, we would rent out a really nice restaurant or whatever, and we would all wear suits and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. So for the here's the other question. This does a curveball because you're saying like dinner party, house, you know, kind of Christmas party situation, Emily. I'm talking restaurant. I have one of these coming up, a progressive dinner where you go from home to home for different dinners and beverages and drink. Now, riddle me that.
Slacks and a sweater. Slacks and a sweater.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. Is the tux comfortable?
It's not a tux. It's a suit.
It's just a suit.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is the suit comfortable?
Not particularly.
See, here's
Is any
the thing.
suit comfortable?
That's the thing. Like, especially if you're eating a lot of food, think about that situation. Like, I think you're going to want to, you're going to get to a point where you're like really regretting the suit. Even if you look amazing.
My thing is like, is anybody else there going to be wearing a suit? Wear your suit. If you're the only suit.
I think I'm the only suit.
Don't be the only suit guy.
You know what? I actually do respect people who wear what they want whenever people don't, like, no matter the dress code. Guy. Him being a suit guy, kind of lean into it. I don't know. That could be a fun character for you. Make it a real personality.
But it doesn't fit the persona of his personality. Like,
that's
suit
okay.
guy
That's
at a non-suit event.
That's the duality of a man.
Suit guy at a non-suit event is the serious guy. Like, Jesse's the class clown.
No, it actually does make sense because Jesse's the guy that keeps you on your toes. You never know his next move. And so him wearing a tux to a progressive dinner, that actually is the most Jesse thing I can think of.
Years and years ago, I still like them, but they've sort of faded from relevance. They're more like a classic rock band. But years and years ago, I really liked the band Weezer, right? And they went on and there was a stretch where their frontman, Rivers Cuomo, you know, they were sort of like early like emo, you know, like their whole vibe was just like thrift story. They basically kind of set fashion standards for what came in indie rock back in the mid 90s. Anyway, he started showing up to all his concerts wearing like, not like a cool, like hipster suit, like New York Rock or like the Hives or like, you know, like a band that has like tight fitted suits. He was wearing like straight up business suits with big pleats on the legs and and like, you know, kind of big shoulder pads, just straight up business suits for like 2 years. That's what he just decided to wear on stage, as if he was, you know, worked in finance during an era where they didn't have particularly tailored suits. And someone asked him about it. He says, we were touring in Japan and I just had a day to kill. And I wandered in a store that was selling men's business suits. And I bought one just to see what it would feel like to wear a business suit, because this is a guy that was in a band since he was a teenager. He liked how it made him feel so much that he converted his whole wardrobe for like 2 or 3 years. I feel like, you know, overnight you could just become a suit guy. And that, you get a different feeling when you're vibing in the suit, even if it's a little uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
I love that 2025 Jesse is going to be a suit guy, because I do think that
a
year from now, you're not going to be wearing the beanie and the T-shirt. You're going to wear the tux. Suit, sorry.
I only have one suit, though, and they're pretty expensive.
Well, Steve Harvey says you only need 5 and you can get 75 outfits out of it.
Well, he would know.
Right. So you need 5 suits. You need a black suit. You need a navy suit, a tan suit,
A white suit,
a gray suit, and what was it? 1, 2. Anyway, and so you wear the suits, but then that blue jacket goes with the tan pants, and the gray pants, and the black jacket goes with the tan pants, and you get 75 outfits. And then you said you get 2 white shirts and a blue shirt, light blue shirt, and you're set for life.
But look, at some point, he woke up one day and was like, "I'm a suit guy." He wasn't born that way. He wasn't born suit guy.
I have always wondered what happens when somebody switches from young adult attire to I'm now a suit person for the rest of my life. Like, suits don't exist anymore. Even my parents' company, which is very old school, they don't require, dress code like that anymore. So I feel like the suit era is over unless you're in finance. But I don't know.
Could you picture Steve Harvey in a T-shirt? Could you even just fathom that image? I can't. He is
not a T-shirt.
I
have seen him in a polo shirt on vacation in Saint Tropez. He posted it to Instagram. He was wearing resort wear.
Yeah.
you have a really vivid memory of that specific Steve Harvey picture.
He was sitting at a table with friends. He was lounged back a little bit, and the camera was to his right side. And it was like he was, and I was like, man, he's just living the life. He's just on a hill in Saint Tropez wearing resort wear. Man,
that's
Steve
how
Harvey.
shocking it was that he was not in a suit. That it impressed in your memory that you remember the exact position of him and the sun.
I remember it, man. I mean, the suits hide a lot of flaws. I get it. I mean, it's a forgiving attire,
I need to ask, going back to the progressive gender. Okay, so say you wear the suit. Is your wife also dressing up as much as you, or is she going like the ugly Christmas sweater route?
I haven't asked, but my suit decision's made.
Because I do feel like y'all need to be on the same page about.
You need to give her a heads up. Like, by the way, I'm suiting it. You need to.
I'm suiting up. Yeah.
You need to.
I purchased a suit. I'm not wearing it to one wedding. I'm just stashing it. It's every opportunity, every and all. I kind of hope I have a run-in with the law so that I can wear it to the court.
Wear it to church.
I could. I think, yeah. Oh, the only person that wears a suit in my church is the lead pastor, but he's also a lawyer, and so he's a suit guy. I can't picture him.
Wait, he's a practicing lawyer? Is he bivocational?
He
is. Or is he just still?
He is only the teaching pastor. So other pastors, do the administration and kind of legit financial
ministry stuff. Yeah. Actually,
and he is solely the teaching pastor, but he's also a vocational attorney and an author. But he wears a suit but I can't picture him without a suit. I saw him one day out in the wild, and he had a T-shirt on, and it was kind of disorienting, to be honest with you. I've never seen him without a suit.
It was like the first time I saw my dad without a mustache. He wore a mustache my entire life.
Yeah.
And then one day we were on a family vacation, and he and my mom the night before had he was starting to color his mustache. I found out years later. This is what's So his whole thing when he was younger, he was starting a company. He felt like he had a baby face. So this is the origin story. He grew the mustache to look older. And apparently on this family vacation, my mom told him, if you're having to color the mustache now, you don't need it to look older anymore. Yeah. It was doing the opposite. So he thought, then I'm going to shave my mustache. This is after 18 years. I've never seen him without a mustache.
Oh, so you were older.
Yeah, I was in high school. And I remember walking out of the hotel the next morning and seeing him for the first time. And he was all lip. I get it. Seeing your lawyer without a suit on. It's like seeing my dad without a mustache for the first time. But
yeah, I lost a tremendous amount of respect for him in that moment.
As did I with my dad. So
yeah, never recovered.
Jesse, you should grow a mustache. You can grow a mustache in 30 minutes. You could just during lunch.
By the end of this podcast, you could have a mustache.
Dude, that's what you got to do. Become the mustache suit guy. You got to evolve it beyond just the suit.
Yeah, I like it. I look like a 90s baseball GM. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the vibe.
All right. Well, like I said, we have a great show in store for you. If you want to chime in and give Jesse some advice, hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast, and we'll share it with him. All right, stay tuned. After this break, it's Slices. Okay, it's time for
Slices.
What do you have, Jesse?
All right. Well, speaking of formality in places of worship, there is a church in England. St. Peter's Church in Shipley, Bradford, which I assume is a town in a region of England, that has recently turned their sanctuary into a wrestling ring. And they're bringing in a group of wrestlers that wrestle with an organization called Kingdom Wrestling to do wrestling events at the church. As the story notes on relevantmagazine.com, the Church of England is facing declining church attendance. And so this particular church figured out, we can get more butts in the pews here by bringing in a bunch of oiled up muscle men and have them not only wrestle with real cool wrestling moves, but also have like little scripted conversations about good and evil,
Yeah.
And use them as sort of active sermon illustrations. Now, to be honest, I don't think that's necessary. I think people will get it. I think that's pretty on the nose. I think they're coming for the wrestling. I think they understand the basic premise at that level of Christianity. God is good, the devil's bad. I don't necessarily think we need to have them physically wrestle. But I don't mind this. I feel like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is not good. People shouldn't water down church. If they're not coming anyway, why not make it entertaining? Dating back to the days of what were they called? The strongmen, Cameron?
The power team,
Power
man.
team?
Power team.
Dating back
John
to
Jacobs.
That's right. There's a long legacy of oiled up muscle men bringing people back into the church. And I think
the difference is they had a muscle shirt on. They were wearing tank tops. These English wrestlers are full on wrestling garb, shirtless, and you didn't quite paint the picture of the environment. This isn't like an American church with pews. This is a cathedral that they're doing in the middle
it's
of.
Even cooler.
This is literally, the pictures are so ridiculous. They set up a wrestling ring in the middle of the cathedral, and then there's like 12 people scattered around the sanctuary watching it. It's like, I don't know.
I will say this: I don't for certain know they're shirtless and oiled up. That was just my assumption.
No, they are.
I would be very okay. Good.
Yeah, they're real wrestling looking guys, but they're not like professional wrestlers. They're just like guys who like to wrestle. So they do this.
But you're suggesting that because it's in a cathedral that this is somehow inappropriate.
No, it's just more ridiculous than if it was just like an American church on stage. You know what I mean? No, this is like literally like you're in this like holy sanctuary with stained glass windows and like hundreds of years of religious history. Mm-hmm. And then there's a guy's wrestling in the middle of it. It's just it's so funny looking to me. Anyway.
No, it is funny to think about like with like the historical cathedrals. Cause like I remember like when I went to England, I went into like a church that I think that had been built in like the 1300s or something like something like crazy old, and people were like still going to church there, and I like thought it was so cool of like, oh, that's awesome. For like hundreds of years people have been coming in hearing the message of God, all this stuff. And it's funny to think about like now people are coming into this centuries old cathedral to watch a bunch of oiled up men wrestle each other, and then in between their breaks being like, who else wrestles? The devil and God. Like, just like, I don't know. Like, it's just so funny to think about the messaging.
But it's like the same thing as like Jesse said, the power team was just brought in to do stunts to attract the kids. And then they hear the gospel at the end. It's exactly that, combined with the human videos outreach mime things that like people would do on youth group would do on missions trips, where like they're wrestling with God and Satan without words. So it's the exact same thing.
I have no beef with it.
It is fun to think, because it's like I feel like all of that stuff really faded out in like the 2000s, and then like the 2010s. I mean, I know that there were like gimmicky things happening, but there wasn't something like, I don't know, the power team, or like you said, like the human videos. So it is interesting now in the 2020s, it's coming back around. We're doing wrestling now. I'm curious, like what other attraction is going to come out and Christians are going to be like, that's what'll get people to church.
See, here's the thing. I would go, but not because I'm a fan of wrestling, but when stuff like this happens at churches, I feel like there's some degree of likelihood something's going wrong. You know that video of like the monster truck or the tank driving in? That church is not built to support the weight of a retired battlefield tank. Okay. When they drive monster trucks or motorcycles, you ever seen that video of that pastor that drove the motorcycle into the sanctuary because he was using it as some preposterous sermon illustration, and you could it was clear he was not comfortable on a motorcycle. It didn't look like he had because his legs were kind of out to the side, and he's kind of squirrely coming down the aisle, and he instead of brake he hits throttle and like jumps up on the stage, and it's a whole disaster, and he falls off the motorcycle. Anytime a church is doing that, these aren't professional wrestlers. That sanctuary. No. That's a temporary ring they're bringing in. Anytime there's a
one guy's a plumber, another guy's just his buddy from the bar. You know, like it's just guys who like to wrestle. Yeah,
I'm more interested in attending things like this because I think something's going to go wrong and it's hilarious. My church, for example, meets in. They don't have their own baptismal tub, okay, and we usually do baptisms at the ocean because we're at the beach. But in the winter, they did baptisms and they brought in a portable tub. Okay. And halfway through worship, guys are coming in off the street with bags of ice. Okay. They had heated the baptismal tank so it'd be comfortable for the people that were going to be baptized after the service. And someone like had tested it during worship and they got that thing almost boiling. They overheated it.
200 degrees.
Yeah. Literally, there was like steam coming out and someone felt it and was burned. They had to send people out to the gas station to get ice. And they're trying to do this covertly during worship, okay? Yeah. So that baptisms could go on as planned. That's what I'm saying. Even little stuff is going to go wrong. And I love it. That's entertaining to me. You know, we had to delay the baptisms for quite a bit of time while they cooled that dangerously hot water out.
You're not for it because you think this is a great way to attract the youth in the dying church scene in England. This is going to get a new generation in the door. You're not for it for the gospel to be shared to a new crowd. You're for it because there's a good chance that rope is going to snap and this amateur wrestler is going to go flying into the seats. That's what you're thinking.
Or they're going to like take like people from the crowd being like, who wants to wrestle next? Like,
I'm just saying there's a high likelihood that will happen. And that would get me there. And if I'm there to see that and I happen to be touched by a message later, probably a very concerned prayer for an injured wrestler, then bonus.
God can use, he speaks through an ass. He can speak through a burning bush.
Very serious incident here.
He can speak through wrestling injuries.
Peter the Rock appears to be seriously injured. And
prayers up for Peter the Rock. Peter the Rock Johnson. Oh, man. All right. What do you have, Emily?
Okay, I have a little bit of a two-parter here, and it's really for Jesse and all the other people not dealing with the dating world right now. I just need to let y'all know kind of the state of things because I'm going to be honest, it's looking a little bleak these days, especially this week.
For you or for everybody? What are you?
Okay, well, I wasn't going to make it personal, but I think it is for everyone involved.
Okay, all right.
Because there was a study that came out that I want to talk about, or a new survey that came out that said men think that the best place to have a first date is at Chick-fil-A. This was from a survey of 3,000.
What's the problem? I thought you were saying this was bleak.
I knew that you would say something like that. I didn't know exactly how you'd phrase it, but I knew you'd say something like that.
I like Chick-fil-A.
What's the bad news?
Hear me out. Okay.
What a time to be single.
Free
I think this works
Chick-fil-A?
on so many levels. One, if a date goes wrong and you're at a fancy restaurant, you're there till the bill comes. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
You at Chick-fil-A, you can walk out whenever. It's paid for. You pay right at the register. Two, you know what you're getting. Three, if you're having a great time, they're not kicking you out, and you can get a little ice dream. 3, everyone's been in a situation. I've been on first dates in a while, but like if I'm in a social situation, it's awkward. You're pulling out your phone, they get free Wi-Fi, so you can act like you can text yourself or something. You figure it out. This seems great in all the ways. Please explain to me the problem here, Emily.
Here's the thing. I'm not against like a cheap first date. That's like, I'm fine. Like, even if it was like a coffee shop or something, that's fine. There's just something about Chick-fil-A that is so casual. Like, I don't want to go to a first date where there's a loud play place in the background. Like, I need a little bit.
You don't want fluorescent lighting on your first date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, again, I'm not saying it has to be like a nice steak dinner or anything. I'll take a Chili's. That's fine. But like, I need some intentionality. Like Chick-fil-A is like, I don't feel like cooking tonight. I'm already out. Let me go grab Chick-fil-A. Like, it's too casual. I need a.
So break down what the survey says. So it's like, okay, so the men surveyed said that their favorite spot for first date is Chick-fil-A. Why? Is it that fast food is now the new thing? Or is it Chick-fil-A's number 1 and like a nice restaurant's number 2? Like, what is it?
I wish changing? A nice restaurant was number 2. No, Chick-fil-A was number 1. Dairy Queen was a second spot. And then tied for third was Sonic and Pizza Hut.
Okay. Hold on. But Dairy Queen, they're not going for a meal. They're going like park date. We're going to pick up some ice cream cones.
Get a blizzard or something.
Yeah. Right.
And again, I hope so. I hope that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
The survey did not get into the details of the date, just that would be their first spot to pick. And again, maybe at Chick-fil-A, that's what they're doing too. They're picking up food and then going somewhere else. That's fine. But like the way the survey reads is that they think going to Chick-fil-A is like the ideal first date spot.
I got no problem with it, but I have a related piece of news that I think could solve this. A place where we can all agree is the optimal first date. I'm going to read a headline. This is a bonus slice, but it plays into your slice, Emily, because this is going to solve all our dating problems. I'm going to read the headline and sub headline from the breaking news on foxnews.com. Okay. Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurants to return after 20 years absence. Restaurant closed in 2004 after hepatitis A outbreak now slated for reopening. Cameron, get your finger on the bleep button. Oh, hell yeah. I grew up in a big Chi-Chi's house, guys. You have no idea. Chi-Chi's was huge in my house.
I don't know what Chi-Chi's is.
It's like a Mexican restaurant, like
where you get
all of
them.
Apparently.
For one. And 2, that was 20 years ago. They've moved on.
They've wiped things down since then. They've sanitized.
And it's a great story. This is a great American comeback story. Hormel Foods, which owns the Chi-Chi's trademark, said it reached an agreement with Michael McDermott, the son of the original Chi-Chi's founders, allowing him to use the name and reopen the restaurant chain next year. Guys, America's back. Okay,
dude, I mean,
we had some hard times.
Darden Restaurants, that owns like Olive Garden and Seasons 52 and Baba Breeze and all those, and Cheddar's. They just bought Chuy's, the Mexican restaurant, and they're going to be expanding it and taking Chuy's even further. I don't know if y'all know Chuy's. It's great. It's like Chi-Chi's, but
you know what else is making a comeback? Actually, and now that we're talking about great American institutions that whether for financial or hepatitis reasons close too soon.
They wiped it down.
You know what else is coming back?
What?
Rainforest Cafe.
It never went anywhere. We have one in Orlando. It never went out.
I think that's the only one. I think it's
Are you
only
serious?
There's one in Houston that my friends and I
have two.
Because there's a roller coaster.
We literally have 2. We have one at Disney Springs, and we have one that's at the entrance of Animal Kingdom. So we have two Rainforest Cafes. But.
Oh, well, evidently they're going to be rolling out more. And I read an interesting think piece, how that was like that restaurant in its heyday came out before the Instagram era, when that's literally what it was made for, is someone to go to Rainforest Cafe and take a bunch of pictures. Speaking of which, I haven't checked on the Casa Bonita situation in a long time, but I loved Casa Bonita. Have you, Emily? Did you ever go to Casa Bonita?
I don't think so.
It's based in Denver, and then they had one in Tulsa. There was kind of that Midwest thing. Describe it, Jesse. Like people who can't see it, or haven't seen it with their own eyes, like what he's going to describe doesn't do it justice of what the actual experience is, but do your best.
Okay. Well, I would say most people frame a reference. There was a whole South Park episode on Casa Bonita, but Casa Bonita is
because they bought it.
Oh, Trey Parker, Matt Stone bought Casa Bonita.
Yes.
Wait, if this is okay, I do know about that. Yeah, they bought like a Mexican.
So it contracted down to just the Denver one, the original, and it was about to go under. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who are from Colorado, loved it so much they didn't want to let it die. They bought it and then announced plans to invest a ton of money to like bring it back to the new era. So
Casa Bonita, which I used to frequently attend or go to when I was living in Tulsa, it's a Tex-Mex restaurant that has different thematic areas of the restaurant. So you can sit in like an old timey jail cell. You can sit in a jungle. You can sit in like a coal mine. You can sit underneath a waterfall. The one in Denver actually has someone doing dives off the waterfall throughout the entire evening, doing like backflips and stuff. All these thematic rooms. Food comes out on a conveyor belt. And when you want more, you just grab more tacos off the conveyor belt. Each table has a little pirate flag. And when you want more beverages or a refill, you raise the pirate flag and they've thought of everything. I told you, Cameron, I had a friend in college who actually got a job at that Casa Bonita. Their whole job, because they just keep cranking out tacos on that and burritos on that conveyor belt the whole evening. His whole job, there was a vat of refried beans and they gave him a boat oar and he just had to stir it the whole night to keep the beans
so you don't
from
get the crust on the top. Yeah.
And then someone would just slop some off the top onto the conveyor belt because they're cranking them out the whole night. They got to
feel like they could have automated the boat or manual labor situation. I feel like there's
it needs a human touch.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
This sounds like maybe the greatest restaurant ever.
Oh, it was insanity. It was in the era of like
was the food good?
No, it was awful, but it was very fun.
It was conveyor belt Mexican food. What do you think?
I was like, I'm a little concerned about the quality of food here.
No, it was in the era of maximalism. Maximalism restaurant experiences, like the Buca de Beppo's. Sure. You know, even back in the day, TGI Fridays with all the tchotchkes everywhere. Like Casa Bonita was like a local version of that. And it's like they kept tacking on rooms over the decades. And then, you know, it's like, oh, we had a good run in the mid 60s. So we're going to add a waterfall with a high diver. Yeah. And then they added a new room with, this other theme. And like, it's just a crazy maze. It's wild. So, yeah, it's coming back.
I'm just saying America had some down years with COVID and just the overall vibe was bad. We got Chi-Chi's coming back. Who knows what's going to happen with Casa Bonita, but I'm hopeful.
Definitely hepatitis outbreak.
Those sound like great places to have first dates.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to bring it back. That is what a first date should be.
Yes.
That's a second date.
You don't want to waste a trip to one of those on a date that might go wrong. Feel it out with a low stakes Chick-fil-A, some waffle fries. If it goes well, you're going to Chi-Chi's, okay? But don't waste it. Chi-Chi's is only for positive experience, positive vibes. First dates can go bad, okay? No negative vibes at Chi-Chi's. That's just the rule. They already had to deal with the hepatitis thing. That haunted them for 20 years.
I just need to understand. Did they have like the chain had an outbreak of hepatitis?
Yeah, it's like in their proprietary lettuce or something, their lettuce supplier. And so it was like chain wide. There was an outbreak of hepatitis.
I was also about to ask, my understanding of how hepatitis
in
spreads.
A beloved institution goes down in flames.
I think it was already struggling. I remember the Chi-Chi's near me was, it had its heyday, and then the parking lot got more and more empty over the years. And I think it was on its last gasp anyway. And then the hepatitis outbreak was just the nail in the coffin.
Really wiped them out.
My parents wanted to get together with friends, and it was a fun night out. It was all about the Chi-Chi's. I know exactly where it was. The shopping center's gone way downhill now. But back then, man, it was one of the best strip malls in the area. I'm just glad.
Wait,
I'm just happy.
What was special about Chi-Chi's? Like, did they have like a signature dish or anything? Like what
chimichangas?
Oh,
yeah, they had chimichangas. They had
just a
salsa,
regular Mexican restaurant
and tortilla.
Yeah, it's
chips.
Like Chewy's. Yeah, it's like back in the day, El Torito, Don What's the Don one?
Don Julio's.
Don Julio's, yeah.
Oh, I
I
do
like
love Don
those.
Julio's.
Don Julio's, they would bring you a sombrero on your birthday. Take pictures with the Polaroid.
I feel like there was a lot of sombreros in play at Chi-Chi's. I feel like looking back, there's probably a lot of problematic, stereotypical things floating around Chi-Chi's. I mean, the owner's son is named Mike McDowell. I don't think it was authentic. There's probably a lot of appropriation happening, but it seemed in good fun and spirit. It didn't seem, it was before people thought about things like that.
We're just like right before we'd go to the Redskins game, we'd stop by the Chi-Chi's, you know, it
wasn't done. I'm going to get in trouble here. So yeah, I'm just
don't say we were proper country or something like that. Yeah, anyway,
I'm just saying it was fun and it's coming back, and maybe they will take the measures to make sure the decor is appropriate for the era we live in.
Yeah.
I think if they market themselves as the number one date spot, they could really sell it, and they could really.
It would have to be Chi-Chi's is back. Your new date night spot. No hepatitis, like no more hepatitis. Like they'd have to make sure that that's part of it.
No hepatitis,
or like asterisk, crossed. Yeah,
at the very bottom.
Crossed.
Like, we wiped everything down. I promise. All right. Do you have something else? I think you had a twofer in our planning meeting.
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention, like, again, kind of just like the state of dating and stuff. Going back to, I think because of the lack of intentionality with first dates and just the lack of intentionality in general, it seems like Gen Z is sort of just taking a break from maybe dating altogether, because over the last year combined, there have been 1 million Gen Z users who have deleted their dating app profile.
But maybe that means that they found a happy relationship. And so
I mean, maybe, but I'm just saying anecdotally, I have a lot of friends who like they've deleted the apps because they're like, this is just, it feels so, dating is just so weird right now, where it's like you're talking to like 5 people at once, but you don't really know if you have a connection with them. And then you just feel icky. And then they are also talking to 5 people. Like, it's a whole mess. And I think Gen Z is kind of like over sort of their only options with dating. And so it seems like they're taking a break and just embracing maybe some singleness right now. And maybe that's for the best.
But what if they just start deciding to date the old school way? Just like meeting people, you know? Like, does the deletion of dating apps mean they're giving up on dating, or they're just going back to
not
the era where...
I think they are wanting to meet people.
It's like the running clubs are huge, and like different social gatherings where it's like low stakes. You can meet new people.
But it is interesting because it's like for the last few years, it's like dating apps have been kind of the biggest way people have met people or have started relationships. And now it's like, I would say over the last year, especially, like the algorithm's just so weird. Like, it is really frustrating seeing like the same, because I mean, I'm on dating apps every now and then, and I see like the same guys that it's like, well, I swiped no on them because of, whatever reason, or I did swipe right on them and then we didn't really talk, but they're going back. Like, it's just like the algorithm it's not good. And I think dating apps need like a reset if they actually want people to find someone.
In 2025, I have a prediction, the number one place to meet new people, Chi-Chi's Lounge, the lounge area there by the waiting area when you first check in. Like,
I wish restaurants would blow out that line. There used to be a restaurant near me that was like in the basement of an old, like, where did monks live? What is that place called? The
monastery.
Monastery.
Yeah, it was like from colonial times, like a monastery. There's a lot of weird colonial places in Virginia. And it was in the basement, and they had a lounge area in the restaurant with it was low light, little billiards thing, a couple leather benches where you just kind of sit around. And it's like, oh, that's kind of a nice little touch they have here.
Sorry, you were in the basement of a monastery?
That's right.
I don't think you're going to meet a lot of women in the basement of a monastery.
It's a pretty swanky place. It's actually pretty cool because you went down like these little stone stairs.
You can wear a suit.
Cameron,
there.
I know. You could wear a suit there. It's that type of place. You've been to downtown Norfolk and stuff. It's kind of vibey down there. It's very colonial, sort of, brick and ivy. It's we got some stuff going here.
Yeah.
Virginia
delete the
like
app and go wander around
place.
downtown. Go wander around downtown Norfolk. Delete your apps. All right. That'll do it for Slices. Places. Stay tuned. Up next, Bob Goff joins us. Our guest today is Bob Goff. He's a friend of the show and author of books like Love Does, which you've got to read if you haven't read it, and his latest, Catching Whimsy, which comes out today, actually. In a time where the world feels a bit heavy and things can seem mundane, Bob wants us to embrace a colorful view of life. Emily talked to him about why the world needs more whimsy and how to cultivate a childlike awe and wonder in our life. Here's our conversation with Bob Goff.
You know, for some people, the idea of being whimsical seems so foreign to them. So how do we start cultivating whimsy into our daily lives?
Yeah. Start with having a good friend. Find a fun friend. Like, not just like Eddie Haskell, who's going to get you into some misdemeanors, but find some fun friends. And then for me, just because faith is a big deal for me, then Matthew 25, it said I was hungry and you fed me. I mean, there's something really winsome about just carrying around a couple extra pieces of food in your car. And when you see somebody and they're hungry, they'll say like, dude, yes. And he said, when you're thirsty, he gave me something to drink. Like, have those little shooters. I mean, in Florida, it's always hot. So just to have something to give somebody a drink of water. I was a stranger. Find somebody who's kind of creepy. Like the one that is sitting alone. Right now, there's some dangerous, creepy people, and then there's just people that aren't good at their people skills. So find like door number 2, somebody who's just not good at people skills, and just engage them. What's it feel like to be you? They probably won't say creepy. They'll probably say lonely. You know, they'll probably say, it just feels like I'm alone a lot. And then you could just like, well, here we are, not alone. And you're one person away from not being alone. Like, isn't that crazy? 8 billion people, you just need one of them. And there's probably somebody else who's lonely. We just got to figure out who they are. And so hungry and thirsty and sick and strange and naked and in jail. So I teach at Pepperdine Law School. It cracks me up. Can you imagine me teaching at a top tier law school? Yes, I teach a class on failure. Because a lot of what we do is all about win, win, win. But I would say half the time somebody's losing. And more than half the time in my life. And so what do you do when you've lost? But I don't just teach there. I teach at San Quentin. And this penitentiary has been notorious for so many. It's 140 years old. But I just go there to learn. Like, I haven't taught these guys anything. But the guys that come, there's about 100 at a time that get into the class. And I've taught about 850 guys. So it's like old home week when I go through the yard at San Quentin. They're like, Mom, they freak my wife out. Sweet Maria was like, why do you know so many people here? Do you have another life going on? I'm like, I do. There's we're coming up on Christmas right now. And I showed up at San Quentin with a Santa Claus costume on. And the warden said, like, we don't do costumes in here. And I'm like, oh, come on, let me in. So they let me in. So now I'm in the yard at St. Quentin, and I've got this Manson family member who's been in my class for the longest time. He ain't going anywhere soon. And he came and he sat on my lap. And he said, I've never sat on Santa's lap before. I said, well, I've never had a serial killer sitting in my lap before. So this is a first for both of us. And I said, well, this is what Santa always asks. What do you want? And I thought he'd say an alibi or something. But what he said is, I just want to call on Christmas morning. And because the warden's a good guy, they arranged this call, and we talked for a while. And then when he was done, he said, hang on a second. And he gave the phone to the next person. And we talked for a while, and he said, hang on a second. He gave 30 guys later. Like, most people just want to know you care. People just want to just know that it's okay. People want love and acceptance, and we keep giving them information. And I don't want more information. If you tell me that there's 4 words for love, agape, phileo, that won't change me at all. I don't care. I want to know, Emily, who has loved you well, who did that selflessly, who did that sacrificially. Tell me a real life story about a real life person, and you got me. And I think that kind of thing, if we're not scolding anymore, not admonishing anymore, not scaring everybody about everybody else and their supposed bad intentions. And I'm no stranger to this. I'm a trial lawyer. I get it. There's bad people doing bad stuff. And we all mess up, inadvertently often. But what I want us to do is to get back to that version of ourselves that's seeing people the way that God sees them. Because I keep meeting all these people that say they love God, but then they don't seem to like the people he made in his image. I'm like, I'm just saying, I'm not mad at you, but I'm just working through my own insecurity around that.
Some people might see whimsy as a sign of immaturity. So how can we keep a childlike faith while still growing in maturity in our own faith?
Yeah, I would just say to find these big, noble things that are worthwhile doing. I do a lot of my stuff overseas, but that actually, you will not find that anywhere in the books and letters they call the Bible. Like what Paul got shipwrecked and Jonah got swallowed. So there's that. But in Uganda, it was probably 22 years ago. I had this idea with a bunch of friends. We said, let's build a school. There's this 20-year insurgency that had happened. 40,000 young people abducted and given machine guns to hold. And so there was in need. There was, I think, 400,000 kids that were without any education. So we spread the word all throughout northern Uganda. We just said, hey, there's a free school. You can come. We'll feed you. We'll teach you, whatever. And 9 kids showed up. And 8 of them, I don't think, wanted to be there. They were just there for the feed meals. But then it turned into 19 and 29. And so the first stopping point on that is it's Zechariah 4:10. It says, don't despise small beginnings because the Lord delights in watching the work begin. So whether faith guides your steps or not, just start. There's something beautiful in that. Just start and just say, like, you're not doing it to make a headline. You're doing it to make a difference. And now we just got back from Uganda. There's 1,500 kids all there with graduation, ready to move their tassels, and just something to just delight in seeing. It wasn't my hard work. It was a bunch of delightful Ugandan educators that just got them over the finish line. From diapers, we're building a university now. And I don't mean 3 low-rise buildings with a cardboard sign that says university. I mean, these are 4-story buildings. It's the real deal. And so I was thinking about diapers to doctorate. It just seems like such a neat thing, because even though that wouldn't be for everybody, I think that would be neat. And think of the change it might make in the pivot point for a Ugandan family and their kids and their kids' kids and their kids' kids' kids. But then the whimsy part came in, and I thought, I want to have some animals around there. I was trying to think of an animal that doesn't bite people and would be hard to lose. And I'm like, giraffes, right? So, you know who owns all the giraffes in Uganda? The president of Uganda. 2,740 of them, to be precise. So I went. I don't know him, but I know his wife. So I'm talking to his wife, but I'm not talking about education. I'm talking about giraffes. She got so excited, she ran over and got her husband and pulled him by the ear. And for the next hour, we all talked about giraffes, and we walked out of there with 6 giraffes. So now, not under each arm, but this whole idea that what you do is this whole idea of wanting for others what you want for yourself. And if you want for others the kind of joy that you want for yourself, then leak a little bit of that into the exhaust system. Like, get that in the air supply, in the places you work, with the people that you meet. Ask them, what's it feel like to be you? Take a genuine interest in the people around you. Now we're going to have giraffes. Now they do a home study, it turns out. Just like if you're fostering kids, they come and check out to see, is this a safe place? And so knowing that, I planted 10,000 acacia trees. I said, make it look like they've been there for a while. So when they come, it's going to be ready. That's strategic whimsy. Go talk to the right people. If you don't know the right people, find somebody adjacent to the right person. Then if you know the home study's coming, plant the trees where people will thrive, where giraffes will thrive. And then what will happen, and it's not just a prank, it's this beautiful thing. People will think of this university in northern Uganda, which has been known for the last half a century as a place of war, and they'll know it as a place of peace and giraffes. And I think there's something beautiful that we can change. We can bring that. And again, it isn't this confetti whimsy. It's a mile of strategy. Let's get the giraffes. We'll get the money, whatever we need. That's why I write books. Because if I sold cupcakes, people would die. But to take what you're capable of and then do what you're called to. There's something beautiful about it. You're not called in a big Christian-y word thing, but just that thing that makes you jump out of bed in the morning, the thing that blows your hair back, the thing that you're not asking, will it work? You're saying, will it last? Now you know you're onto something.
That was Bob Goff. Make sure to check out his new book, Catching Whimsy, which is available today. All right, up next, we've got Christmas Quandaries.
Hey, if you like this podcast, but you might like it better if there were no ads, you can do that. Head over to relevantmagazine.com and sign up for Relevant Plus. For just a couple bucks a month, you get this podcast ad-free. You get ad-free unlimited reading at relevantmagazine.com, including the full podcast and magazine archives, our beautifully designed digital issue, and a little more. Check out all the info right there on the Relevant Plus tab at relevantmagazine.com. Well, Relevant has a lot happening this year, and we don't want you to miss a thing. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter right there on the front page at relevantmagazine.com, and we'll send you our top 5 trending stories sent to your inbox every weekday. We'll also send you a weekly podcast newsletter with the latest episodes, some fan extras, and first peeks at the new shows that we're going to be rolling out throughout this year. Make sure to sign up. It's the best way to keep in touch with everything we got going on.
All right, it's time for...
It's Christmas, Quandaries.
Christmas Quandaries. Say that 5 times real fast. Go, Emily.
Christmas quandaries, Christmas quandaries, Christmas quandaries,
Christmas quandaries, Kwanzaa.
Darn it, dang it. I was doing strong for that first 1.5.
I know. It's a good 1.5, and then you start getting tripped up on the qua and the cra.
Qua.
Anyway.
I don't say qua enough.
All right. So what it is I'm going to read you guys scenarios of things that people do during Christmas or holiday season, and you're going to decide together whether or not it's okay or not. Are we giving it the stamp of approval, or are we saying, guys, you got to cut this out? Should we call it holly or jolly, or like Emily? Is there a?
I like holly or jolly. I'm trying to think of other.
Well, which
festival.
one's the bad one? Holly, naughty or nice?
Naughty or nice, yeah.
We'll figure that. Okay, here we go. The first scenario: regifting a present someone gave you. We okay with that? Is that naughty or nice?
I'm personally okay with it because I do it.
I think it depends on who you're giving it to. And if there's a possibility the person could find out, because I think that's the only way it's nice, because they need to know it's a lame gift that is being regifted.
Wait, so you get a gift from a family member, and then next year you take it to give somebody at the office or something? Just like social circles that will never intertwine.
No, I'm the opposite. That's deceptive. That's naughty. You give it at the same family gathering to someone else to let them know.
Oh, do you open it and then just hand it to another person? Or are you saying that's the next year?
That's the honest thing to do.
Got it. Look them dead in the eye as you do it, too.
This is about blunt honesty.
Look your aunt dead in the eye as you hand it to your nephew, Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm more the first one where it's like, if I get something from a family member, then it's fine, but I think my friend would like this a lot more than I would. I will regift it. And I'll tell the friend, like, hey, so-and-so got me this, but I think you'd like it more. I won't tell that person that got it to me, though, that I regifted it.
I'm an honest person.
I'm not.
All right, leaving your Christmas lights up until March.
Oh, that's naughty.
Yeah, we got to take that down.
It's so weird hearing you say naughty.
Very naughty.
Oh, that's naughty. Like what?
That's a naughty neighbor.
March is a little excessive. If I'm going to give you mid-January, and then those things better not be turned on again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mid-January
right.
feels late too.
No, it is late. I'm saying I'll give you up until I have a little grace for it because traditionally the 12 days of Christmas starts at Christmas. So like maybe they observe the 12 days of Christmas. And so that takes you into like what, January 8th. So I'll give you an extra week for busyness.
Yeah,
But
I'm fine through January, but that's the hard. There's a hard cutoff at that point.
Yeah. Okay, pretending to love a gift you actually hate. I guess to save the person's feelings.
Once again, very naughty. This is a time of year for honesty, blunt, cold, pure honesty.
So you're going to look them again dead in the eyes and say,
Dead in the
this
eyes.
sucks.
Do you have the receipt?
No, thank you. Just go, no, thank you.
You try to rewrap the gift.
Go gift card next year. That's what I
Hey,
say.
Doug, do you want this crap? I don't want it yet.
You'll be like Michael Scott at the Christmas party trying to trade, like very obviously trying to trade something around.
That's right.
And Meredith, Phyllis made him.
Everyone ended up having a great time that Christmas party. If I
Nobody did. It was the worst one ever.
No.
It was when he went and got the booze later. Yeah.
It all worked out, didn't it?
Well, didn't Meredith end up at a rehab center?
Yeah, I think that was another year. Was it that year?
It's a different
It's a different Christmas party.
Yeah. Telling kids Santa isn't real because, quote, they need to know the truth. Jesse's in a truth-telling mode.
It's the time of year to, embrace the reality of life. And whether that's a lame Christmas present or a childhood fantasy that must come crashing to an end, it's time for truth. That is the nice thing to do.
Emily, do you concur?
Honestly, no, because I was at a Christmas Eve service one time where the pastor on stage said that Santa wasn't real. And you could literally hear kids start like screaming, crying because it freaked them out. And it was like, that was traumatizing enough. I'll let you guys believe. And then it depends on how old they are. At a certain age, I will tell you
this Christmas. I have some terrible news. Santa is not real, and I fear I've contracted hepatitis A at a Chi-Chi's.
Okay, eating the last piece of pie without asking anyone else if they wanted it.
Someone's got to do it. Nice. I hate when there's just one. I feel like this is a regular thing. You're at a restaurant, people order the app, and someone leaves like that last little piece of the bloomin' onion, someone's got to eat it. We got to end this nonsense of no one's eating the last piece.
Yeah, you're doing a service actually to other people by eating the last piece.
Yeah, because now we can clear the plate. Yeah,
exactly.
All right, making a snowball and throwing it at an unsuspecting stranger.
There's nothing more holiday-like than a random snowball assault.
Emily, do you concur? I live in Florida, so I can't say I've ever experienced a random snowball assault. So
I really have only had like one winter where there was snow. But yeah, I think it's fair game. If you're outside, you're good.
Snowball is, I think, the only item that you're allowed to throw at somebody unsuspectingly, and you can't get in trouble for it because, it's just a snowball. Lighten up. It's snowing.
Also, there's no proof. Just melted. Like, you can't prove
exactly.
I can also easily blame it on some bad aim. Like, there's a lot of things we can do here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, say a Christmas party situation, saying you made cookies, but they're actually store-bought.
That's naughty. That's very lame. You can tell. You can tell also. It's like what the worst corporate slogan of all time was? It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. No one thought it was delivery. Not one person.
Not one person
assumed this was a delivered pizza.
It's true.
Same thing with the cookies.
Calling in sick to work just to go sledding.
Sure, absolutely.
Emily?
I feel trapped answering this.
Is that Emily?
I would never fake a call sick into work.
Just say, I'm going to go sledding. I'll be like, all right, see you Monday.
Yeah. Whatever. Well, on a related note, I'm going to be out Monday for some sledding.
I have 3 sledding days left this year, and I intend on using them.
I'm going to use them. Yeah.
I have one rolled over from last year.
Rolled over from sledding day. Unplugging someone else's inflatable yard decorations because they annoy you. Okay.
Absolutely.
I've done this, so I'm sorry.
Motors. Yeah.
It's so stupid. I've done it. Yeah. I'm not saying it's
Did
nice.
you get caught?
No, I didn't get caught. I'm not dumb. But
Did you just unplug it, or did you kind of like poke a hole in it so it
puncture
could
it?
work?
no. I didn't cause any damage. I did unplug it to kind of make a point, and I might have moved the extension cord where it's like obvious, like somebody is trying to communicate to you. This is annoying. So
Yeah, very passive aggressive. Did they pick up on the message?
I don't know. They plugged it back in. I don't know what
So
they.
no.
I don't know what they were
They
thinking.
moved. Yeah.
They moved.
I ran them out of that house.
I'm the guy who like lived across from a playground, and the teenagers would, it closes at 10 p.m. and it was directly in front of my house. And the teenagers would go there at midnight and do, teenagery things. And I would call the cops on them. So I'm that guy.
Okay, narc.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Let people be people. This free country.
It was annoying to me. I'm not going to their parents don't know they're there. They're sinning and stuff up in
My
the
God, I forget
jungle
how much
gym.
of a curmudgeon you are sometimes.
Exactly. I don't want them to be sinning in the park in front of my house. All right. Showing up late to a Christmas party with no excuse. Naughty or nice?
I don't think you need an excuse. Who cares?
Yeah, just come and go.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Singing happy birthday to Jesus unironically.
Ooh, this is triggering for me. Because I did used to do this at my.
Whoa. Your family?
No, I've talked about this. I grew up in a very Southern Baptist church, and we did have an unironic Happy Birthday Jesus party every year, where we would literally throw a birthday party for Jesus, and we would sing a
Was
really.
it at Awana? Was it during the Awana meeting, like the Christmas party for?
No, I wish it was. I did do Awana, so and Cubbies.
You're Baptist.
Yeah. No, it was like our Christmas Eve party. Yeah, we would have Happy Birthday Jesus, and we would sing a really sad song. Like it was just like a really somber Happy Birthday song, and it was not really festive.
Why was it
but
somber?
we did have a birthday cake that said Happy Birthday Jesus.
Answer the man's question. Inquiring minds
How do
want to
you
know.
sing it somberly? Like,
was-
is it the act?
Okay, got it. I'm
Was
not
it
gonna
a
sing. I don't
different-
remember all of it, but it was like Happy Birthday Jesus. I'm so glad it's Christmas. Like it was just like not peppy. And it was like, this is like this truly a Michael Scott, like, sorry, your birthday party is so lame, Jesus. Like, that's literally what it was like.
Happy birthday, Jesus. Sorry, your party's so lame.
Yeah. That's what, like, looking back on it, it's like, it was weird. But yeah, one kid got to blow out the Christmas candle or the birthday candles. And it was always like, who gets to blow out the birthday candles for Jesus? Like, it was
That seems inappropriate. Inappropriate.
It was a popularity contest, I'll say. And you know what? I never got to blow the birthday candles out. So a little bitter.
So is the kid who won the Baptist popularity contest, was he a winner or was he the loser? Because that seems like,
in hindsight,
yeah,
he might have been a little bit more of a loser. But
yeah, exactly. All right, sneaking a peek at your presents before Christmas morning. I did this a lot when I was a kid.
I do this all the time.
Of course, we're humans here.
I became an X-Acto knife expert. I could slit the tape at the end, lift up the flap, see what it was, put the tape exactly back. Done.
My parents use my Amazon account, and for Christmas, the first year that they were using it, I told them after Christmas, stop buying gifts on my Amazon account because I can see what you bought me. Because I get like emails, like being like I would see what they ordered, and I'd be like, that's clearly not for my brother. That has to be for me. So then I would tell them, if you're buying my Christmas gift, buy it on my brother's account and just Venmo him.
Okay, last one. Starting to play Christmas music in October. Naughty or nice?
Very naughty.
Very naughty.
Yeah. It's
So weird.
Should be illegal if we're being honest.
Like it should be banned on Spotify. Like this category you cannot hit the play button until.
Yeah,
report
you'll
it
have
to
to
law
appear in
enforcement.
court in a tux
in a
if
suit.
you do this. Sorry,
Not a tux.
Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about it. What the heck is the difference between a tux and a suit?
Okay, first of all, did you see on The Office where Dwight sent out a memo about the dress code and Jim dressed up in a tux to make a point, and then that's the first day Charles, the new boss, showed up.
Okay, yeah.
That's a tux. A tux has like a satin stripe down the side of the legs, has usually a different type of lapel, like a satiny or something like that.
And you wear a bow tie or a cummerbund.
You have
different
type of shirt.
You wear like jeweled buttons and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but correct me if I'm wrong. All tuxes are suits, not all suits are tuxes. Is it kind of like that situation?
100%.
I don't. Yeah.
But you wouldn't say like it's a black tie, I'm going to wear a suit. You're going to wear a tux. It's a different type of suit. Yeah. It'd be like I'm wearing a double-breasted suit or a regular suit or a tux or like there's different types of suits.
Well,
it's the difference between like a cocktail, like a ball gown or a cocktail dress. I mean, it's like you're not going to.
Well, I'm glad we solved
I
that
would say-
quandary.
Yeah, it's pretty important.
All right. Well, that'll do it for
It's Christmas. Quandaries.
Christmas Quandaries. Many thanks to Bob Goff for joining us today. Go check out Catching Whimsy. Like I said, it comes out today. Look at us, right on the ball. Joel Houston last time, Bob Goff this time. Is like Mount Rushmore of like Christian stuff happening. Also, make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
We'll see you on Friday. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
I grew up in a big Chi-Chi's house, guys. You have no idea.
Relevant Podcast Network.